Are you considering investing in a pre-sale or pre-construction because you've heard it can be a really great investment, but you've also heard it can be pretty risky? Well, you're in luck, because today I'm going to walk you through the pros and the cons of buying pre-construction. And if you stick around to the very end, I'm going to take you on a tour of a brand new project that our team has first tier access to. Meaning that our clients have first access to choosing the best units, the best floor plans with the best incentives before the project gets released to regular realtors and the general public. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is about real estate in Vancouver, subscribe below. Tap the bell for notifications to be the first to learn what's going on in the current market. My name is Megan Becker, a local realtor with eXp Realty. Myself and my team get calls every day from people looking to make this incredible city their home. So whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, give me a call, text, or email, and I'm excited to help you make a smooth move to the best city in Canada. Okay, let's chat pre-sales. Pro number one is the potential for appreciation. Pre-construction properties often appreciate before completion, and this is what allows them to be a really great investment. And they are bought under the assumption of speculation. So property speculation is an approach to real estate investing where anticipated profits are based on predicted changes in the local market condition rather than physical improvements or rent. So that's one of the things that has really been popular in Vancouver because we've seen this year over year consistent appreciation. And so it's not a fool safe method. Like with any type of real estate investing, there are risks and there are also rewards, but that is one of the appeals to pre-sale properties. And big asterisks here, this is where it really comes down to the realtor that you choose to work with. You need to make sure that you're working with an investment focused realtor, number one. Number two, they need to understand your goals. What are you trying to achieve in the property? What are the resources that you have to get into the investment? And then the third thing is what is your risk tolerance? Because with any type of investing, there's risks and there are rewards. Sometimes there's low risk, sometimes there's high risk, and everybody has, it's like a personality. Everybody has their own style. So you need to work with a realtor that understands all of these things and that can lead and guide you to finding the right property based on where you're currently at. So if you're curious, reach out below. All my info is in the description box below, because that's one of the things that I believe, maybe I'm biased, I do best with my clients is I sit down with them and I want to understand what are your motivations, what are your real estate goals, what are your financial goals, what are your resources, what are your risk tolerance, and all of these things. I want to get to know that before I just put properties in front of you. One of the things I always say to clients is there's no such thing as a good deal. There is a good deal for you, because a deal is not a deal if you don't have the resources, if it doesn't match your goals, and if you don't have the right risk tolerance. So a good deal for me might not be a good deal for you. And so that's where it comes in so paramount of me understanding where my clients' goals are. So we've got a little bit of off tangent here. We're weaving our way back into pro number one, which is the appreciation. Typically the pre-sale properties or pre-construction properties will see. Number two is typically buyers can customize options. So because these properties aren't yet built, you potentially have the option to pick whatever finishes that you want, add on upgrades, change colors, change floor to whatever your tastes are. There's opportunities to add parking stalls, storage, things like that. Whatever suits your preferences. Pro number three is the early access to new development areas. You will typically see a lot of pre-construction in newer areas, new up-and-coming areas. Think about Metrotown in Burnaby. It is a huge mecca. Rewind a whole bunch of years. Imagine if you could get in and purchase some of those units, or maybe you have. Put it in the comments below. Have you purchased a unit when Metrotown wasn't Metrotown? I use the example, there's an area in the lower mainland called Burquitlam, and it's right on the border between Burnaby and Coquitlam, hensely named Burquitlam. But I use the example, it's like the upcoming Metrotown or upcoming Brentwood. There are lots of projects there that are going up. There's a lot of newer ones that haven't been built yet. There's a really great transit hub there with the SkyTrain. There's amenities coming, but it's still really raw. There's a lot of concrete. There's not a ton of walkability yet But that's what Metrotown was before it was Metrotown. And so the opportunity is to get in before everybody else is, before the area becomes popular. And that's one of the great opportunities with these pre-sale projects, is they're typically centered around those new and up and coming areas. So you want to look for key features exactly like I mentioned. There's area for development. They're close to a transit hub like the SkyTrain station. There's lots of amenities around, or potential for amenities to be built, and really easy access to main roads. Number 4 is a huge pro, and this is that you don't have to qualify for a mortgage right now. So pre-sales are a fantastic option for a lot of people. Let's say that maybe you're currently working on your permanent residency, and because of the foreign buyer ban, you can't buy a property right now. A pre-sale would be a great option. So quick asterisks here, there's some things that you'll need to have in place, but to sum it up, as long as the pre-sale completes and it's built and you take possession after you have your permanent residency, then you are good to go in purchasing a property that way. So if you find one that's not set to be complete for 2 or 3 years out while you're in the process of getting your PR, that's a huge win. Or maybe you're self-employed and your income's been all over the place and you haven't been able to qualify for a traditional mortgage. Or maybe your finances aren't in a position where you're going to necessarily qualify for a mortgage right now. Or maybe you just don't want a mortgage right now, but you've got saved up some money that you can put in towards a deposit. So there's lots of reasons why not having to qualify for a mortgage right now would be a really great option for someone. So as far as the financial component, the only thing that you need to have up front is the deposit. And depending on the development, the deposits can range. I've seen on the very low end a 5% deposit, all the way up. Usually they're between 15 to 20%. Sometimes you can find some ones with really great incentives that are around 10%. And the deposit is usually tiered and due at signing of the contract, maybe 60 days later, and it's tiered throughout that to add up to that entire percentage of the deposit. And then the 5th pro is the warranty coverage. So with a new development, you get a 2, 5, and 10-year warranty. The 2 years covers anything material, the 5 years covers the building envelope, and the 10-year covers anything structural. So as a buyer, this provides you a peace of mind for anything that could potentially need coverage. I actually just previewed a pre-sale project today by Concord Pacific. They've got 2 projects coming up in Burnaby. One is it backs onto Central Park. The other one is in Metrotown. And one of the incentives that they're offering is actually they've partnered with Miele appliances. So the projects have Miele appliances in them. And it was this cool culinary event previewing the pre-sale project. And they had these chefs come in and do some cooking on all of the Miele appliances. It was a pretty cool event. But anyways, what they're offering is actually a 10-year warranty on all appliances, which is a pretty big deal because the lifespan of our typical appliance is around 10 years. So just another incentive that some developers, some projects will offer. And so it's good to be aware of all of that. So let's move into the cons. Because like I said, there's always reward to any type of investment, but there is always associated risk. There's always pros, there's always cons, good, bad. So let's talk about the cons of investing in a pre-sale or pre-construction project. So con number 1 is the potential for delays. Like with anything, when you are coordinating building a project, there can be delays, and this is not uncommon. So typically what you'll find is when you go to a project, they'll say completion of summer of 2026. And that typically in the disclosure statement, when you write a contract, there will be terms in there that will stipulate around that the leeway that the developer has to actually complete the project. But there's so many unknowns, especially when you're looking 2, 3, 4 years out. Things like weather, supplies, all of that stuff can lead to potential delays. So if you are moving into this for personal reasons, it's a little bit more challenging to plan, but the closer that you get to completion, the more of a hard timeline that you will have there. Con number 2 is that you can't actually see the product. You are buying something off a show suite or a digital brochure or a paper brochure, or maybe it's like a virtual walkthrough, and you're picking color swatches maybe from a presentation center. And oftentimes, again, in the disclosure statement, the developer may write something that they are able to switch out fixtures or colors or tiles or things like that. And usually it's just due to supply availability there. So there is the potential that you're not going to get exactly what you saw in the show suite or exactly what you saw in a brochure. But again, if we're working together and I'm representing you in purchasing a pre-sale project, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna look at that disclosure statement and understand exactly what the developer is saying that they can and can't change. And I wanna make sure that you are fully aware of what the potential could be there. And it's always helpful to take a look at the track record of the developer. What other projects have they completed on? Looking at the finishes, looking at the other projects that they've completed. Con number 3 is market fluctuations. Like I mentioned in pro number 1, the appreciation, we are purchasing this pre-sale off of speculation. So there's no guarantee of what the market is doing. What I want to help equip my clients with is based on all of this data, we can predict this. But again, nobody's got a crystal ball. I wish I did, but reality is I don't. So all we can do is look at data and make our best educated decision based on trends, based on what we know. Because what we do know is history tends to repeat itself and it does follow certain principles and certain trends. That's why we want to look. When I'm shopping for pre-sales with clients, I want to know, before I even know what the project is, I want to know who the developer is and I want to know where it is. Because I want to know the developer's track records. There's some that have amazing track records and some that have less than amazing track records or no track records. So I want to understand who the developer is. And then the second thing, I want to know where it is, because that is, real estate is location. I want to know where it is because there's some principles, like I mentioned, like location, close to transit, new development, amenities, things like that, easy access to roads, things that check my boxes as far as a good project that is going to tend better towards appreciation there. But again, I'm listing it as a con because we truly don't know. And number 4 is the deposit risk. And this is a con, but again, asterisk here, if you're working with a really good investment-focused realtor, we're gonna help mitigate this as much as possible by going through the disclosures and doing our due diligence. But I'm putting it as a con because it is a risk of buying pre-sale projects. Buyers will pay a deposit when you sign your contract, and a significant amount of that deposit is paid up front because developers, they need a certain percentage of deposits in hand before they can actually break ground and start construction. But if the project fails to materialize, you as a buyer might face issues recouping that deposit. I've personally never had this happen to a client. I've never had a team member that's happened. I have heard of it happening. It's not super common though. And that, again, it just goes to us doing our due diligence before even signing that contract. So con number 5 is that there's limited resale options when you purchase a pre-sale. And so what I mean by this is, one of the investment strategies I always recommend to clients, and this is just an real estate investing principle, is have multiple exit strategies. So your exit strategy with pre-sales is you can keep the unit for personal use. You can close on it at completion and live in the unit. Number 2 is that you can close on it at completion and rent it out. And number 3 is that you can assign it before completion and pay an assignment fee to the developer, and then somebody else takes over that contract. So that third option of when you assign it, this is one of the potential cons, is that sometimes, depending on the project, depending on the unit that you bought, it sometimes can be challenging for that third option because, again, it's challenging for buyers to purchase something that has yet to be completed. And if for whatever reason there's multiple other units that are also on the market for sale, unless yours is a really standout floor plan or location in the building, they're kind of all going to look the same as of that moment of you going to market. So that about wraps up the pros and cons. Like with anything, the risk needs to outweigh the reward, and the risk and the reward need to be tailored to your specific situation. So I would love to chat further if pre-sales are something that you are considering. All my info is in the description box below. And I haven't forgot the most important thing that I was excited to share with you guys. Our team has exclusive first-tier access to a pre-sale project in Langley. It is called Azure Grove, and it is a very contemporary, cool West Coast vibe project that is in Langley. It's set to be complete in 2027. It's 2 blocks from the Trans-Canada Highway, just off of 200 Street. It's close to nature parks, so many amenities, and our team gets our clients first tier access. So we get the opportunity to get our clients best units at the best price, the best incentives, and best floor plans. So let's go tour Azure Grove. Welcome to Azure Grove, where urban meets nature. Azure Grove is Langley's most architecturally significant low-rise with distinct contemporary design. It offers a collection of studios, 1, 2, and 3 bed options. The Carvolth neighborhood in Langley is the perfect blend of urban, nature, and convenience. Enjoy amenities like 3 rooftop patios perfectly located to capture sunrise, mountain views, and sunset views. There is a social lounge with kitchen for hosting gatherings, a cozy lounge and games room to relax during some downtime. There are multiple courtyards and walkways that capture the serene outdoors. All units feature modern interiors with 2 different color schemes: sun, which is a light oak, or shade, which is a darker gray. Ample storage, top-of-the-line appliances, and high-end finishes. The developer is ML Emporio. They've completed multiple projects from single-family, multi-family high-rise, and low-rise. They have a special in-house care team to look after their clients and have always stood by their quality. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you got value from this video. If you're considering pre-sales, please reach out. I would love the opportunity to connect and chat real estate. All my info is in the description box below. And until next time, I stopped at Blackstone Bakery, which is a couple blocks from Azure Grove, and bought this giant croissant bread pudding. So I'm gonna go dig into that right now.